In addition to Erickson's theories in development stage six, intimacy versus isolation, I also chose to review family process theory by Bowen. The family systems theory was introduced by Dr. Murray Bowen and is defined as a theory of human behavior, viewing the family as an emotional unit and issues systems to describe the complex interactions. Family process theory emerged after observations were made of human interactions from the family therapy movement. This theory viewed the family as a social system. Family systems theory was considered a logical next step in development following the work of Sigmund Freud. The nuclear family emotional system. That's the relationship patterns that define where issues may develop, where the family um, within the family, such as marital conflict, which was definitely outlined by my interviewee. It plagued her development during that stage in her life between the ages of 18 to 40, which was outlined by Erickson, in addition to dysfunctional spouse, which is another crisis that my interviewee experienced, emotional distance, which corresponds with the death of her father, and also the decline in her marriage, and impairment of children. Which is definitely present with the developmental disabilities with her Down syndrome child and the child that was diagnosed with ADHD. So, family process theory, again by Bowman, reviews the emotional cutoff. That's where the emotional process results in a person occupying different functionings and positions within the family. My interviewee definitely was emotionally cut off by feeling the emotions of the death of her father. She defined that stage in her life as feeling numb, and for a multitude of years, she felt that way. She also cut herself off from the relationship with her husband in attempts to find herself again. She did not allow herself to feel for a lot of that process. She said that it was kind of like a mourning in a sense. The unresolved emotional attachments. That's basically when emotions and conflicts are not properly addressed, resulting in feelings of guilt and the need to want to solve your parents' conflict. My interviewee also discussed when her nuclear family drastically changed, that being very traumatic for her. When her mother asked her father to leave the home, ultimately, she took on the role of wanting to help her mom, wanting to be as stable as she possibly can be so that her mother can maintain the lifestyle and livelihood that she has had. And that became her new role as her daughter. For the systems anxiety, with the emotional systems, it overrides the cognitive system. My interviewee discussed having feelings of severe anxiety, which I believe was induced by depression. They both go hand in hand because she had a lot of suppressed feelings, things that she chose not to I would say acknowledge or talk about and to heal from. She ultimately developed depression, and that resulted in her having anxiety. So, in regards to theories and the limitations, as far as Erickson's theory is concerned, again, I reviewed stage six, which was intimacy versus isolation. And in Erickson's theory, I believe that some of the limitations there lie in the assumptions that one completes each stage completely. His theory represents a person that, again, you go through each stage directly as stated, and that there's always a crisis that catapults you to the next stage. Well, the limitation with that theory is one, what if I don't develop the same as the next individual and I do not go from one stage to the next? And there are several different reasons as to why I may not necessarily move through the stages as described in Erickson's theory. There could be because of just disability and delays. There can be because of trauma. Several different limitations that may arise that prevents that. He does not outline what if you don't go to the next stage, what then becomes your level of development. Is it then delayed? What does that look like? Another limitation as far as Erickson's theory is concerned is that he primarily focuses on the expectation within society, but he does not consider the multitudes of cultures. So some cultures may not move through the same level of development just because of the limitations within the culture itself, because of their values and their belief systems. That also influences the way that people develop, the limitations within resources. Erickson does not outline what that would look like. When reviewing the family systems theory with Bowman, I can honestly say I did not find any level of limitation. I totally agree that the way that families function within themselves definitely impacts you as an individual. Um, and I did try to do my due diligence in locating a lot of different books and articles on his theory. And again, I could not find a specific limitation. I do believe that my interview with the older adult that I chose, she was right in line with the family systems that was outlined within his theory. So that concludes my presentation on my older adult interview. I thank you so very much for taking the time. I hope you found this very informative. And with that, I will say bye. Thank you again.